one of the most common questions I get from referring doctors out there in our roles is, what's new? What's coming up in terms of new treatment? And I look at this, I don't know how to answer that question, because to me there's a lot of new coming on. And is there something that's going to be a blockbuster for everybody, a drug we're going to give to everybody, or are we really at a point where we're going to start to profile more and more and only put patients into certain treatments? And so I've asked each of these guys to bring forward sort of an interesting trial that they would like to talk about and share with you going forward. So Alan, I put you on the spot first. What's up with BRAF inhibitors in colon cancer?
Right. So of course, the BRAF story is a dramatic story in melanoma, that with the dramatic responses in the BRAF mutated melanoma patients. We looked in colon cancer, a study a few years ago showed that BRAF inhibitor alone made no impact on patients with BRAF mutant colon cancer, BRAF being a poor prognostic sign as well. This is a patient population who doesn't do well compared to the rest. So we did present a paper at ASCO this year, our group, in conjunction with a couple of other institutions, including the Harvard Medical System, where we combined a BRAF inhibitor with a MEK inhibitor, which is, we actually piggybacked onto a melanoma trial. And in fact, we saw a few major dramatic responses. On average, not many responses, not durable response, but we saw a few major responses, which lead us to believe there may be something there if we can drill down and figure out what the cause of, what the resistance might have been, et cetera. So I think that's hopeful, but I think that's the kind of approach we would take. And in fact, we're looking to move these therapies earlier in the course of patients, especially those with a poor prognostic group, such as BRAF mutant patients.
Fadi, bring forward a trial for you.
The elephant in the room and the challenge is the KRAS mutant, the patients with colorectal cancer. Historically, we knew about maybe 35%. Now with the new data of comprehensive RAS mutations, maybe half of our patients with metastatic colorectal cancer have that RAS mutation. KRAS and RAS in general, unfortunately, along with maybe P53 and c-MYC, are the most difficult to drug targets in oncology. So therefore, we have to go smarter downstream. And definitely adding to that, MEK inhibitors are exciting. And selmutinib, the AstraZeneca MEK inhibitor has been studied and in a phase 1 dose finding in combination not only with other biologic like the BRAF inhibitor with the GSK compound, but here even with the cytotoxic. And not only the combination with full dose irinotecan like we use it, it's tolerable, but there is about 10% partial response, 50% stable disease. Definitely we need to do better, but this is just a step of evaluating safety and exploring further what would be the best companion to these biologic. A single biologic, I don't think gonna make it into this disease.
Perfect. We've seen some responders of MET inhibitors, even single agent. Tony, you got a study?
So, and I think that I agree, KRAS mutated colorectal cancer is a need, unmet need, but I think KRAS wild type is also an unmet need.
They're dying
We're not
too.
curing those patients. And so we have to understand also some of the mechanisms of resistance to KRAS wild type patients treated with EGFR inhibitors. And one of them is the thought that MET may be upregulated in those patients and may confer some resistance to EGFR inhibitors. This study, actually, there was a study presented at ASCO with tivantinib, which is a MET inhibitor, and was combined with irinotecan plus cetuximab versus a randomization to the same minus the tivantinib plus placebo. Anyways, this study did show hints of activity. I should say, it's a phase 2 randomized study, perhaps favoring the MET inhibitor arm, and especially in a subgroup of patients where c-MET was more, or MET was more expressed, or HGF levels actually were higher. So there may be a way to select those patients a little bit better and perhaps see a signal. The only problem is about 5 to 10% of those patients with colorectal cancer, KRAS wild type, may have c-MET overexpressed. So we're tapping into a very limited number of patients, and that study is going to be challenging. But nonetheless, I think the c-MET inhibitors do, or the MET inhibitors do hold promise in colorectal cancer and other GI malignancies.
Okay, Axel, you get the last word. Can we build better drugs?
Yeah, can we build better? I mean, we still don't have crizotinib-like effects in lung cancer or BRAF.
We've not found our driver, have we?
Even when, if we had a lot of ideas, we do all these mutation analysis and find all these mutations, we drug them, and nothing happens really. So going back to good old chemotherapy, there is still the most important drug we use probably right now is 5-FU, fluoropyrimidine. And there are actually even developments in terms of getting a better fluoropyrimidine. TAS 102 is a Japanese drug which has very intriguing data in randomized phase 2 setting. Very conventional drug development, not really a biomarkers based, so all these fancy things that kind of get in the way. This drug is currently being tested in a phase 3 setting worldwide. The phase 2 data were really impressive in a refractory patient population. Now, I just hope it's not another periphosine study-like effect, great phase. Although we all, in retrospect, were kind of the Monday morning quarterback, saying, the study was too small anyway, we couldn't really say anything. But I hope TAS 102 could be a next chemotherapy drug in colorectal cancer.
And John, can I just put in one
Please.
word for, I think, an area where we're all excited, we need to go where we haven't been, which is immunotherapy. Looking at some of the immune modulators we've seen now that perhaps we've got a handle on how to affect T-cell function. These I think, are well worth studying, and I would hope that maybe we'll make some ground up there.
But it makes me angry. I was going to say something different, that a lot of these checkpoint inhibitors are not being tested in colorectal cancer due to some just early phase 1 decision making. And so we have to advocate for that.
The same with the immunotherapies.
Yeah.
It's hard to get those drugs available for
Yeah,
this
so we need to
purpose.
push.